Everybody, this is episode 53 of Blazing Geeks. I'm Nick,
And I'm Rob.
and this week is our review of Friday the 13th. And a little apology since we're a little late because we've been busy with the New York Comic Con and all that. Which I have, which I'll say, like, conventions are the shit. I mean, what else can you say about them? So
Sure, it's a place where everybody gets all your references.
someone who understands me. Before the movie started, there was a preview for a remake of Last House on the Left.
Produced by Wes Craven.
Yeah, so he was involved in this. So it's not like The Fog where John Carpenter had... Was he involved with it? I don't think he was.
No.
So it told you the outline, pretty much showed you the whole movie in the trailer. I mean, if you've seen the original, this remake is pretty much the same story.
I'm gonna have to disagree because how they meet the boy is a little bit different. They weren't on the run. Don't bring me back. Do you remember? See in the trailer, they were all on the run, and he brought the girls back to his room.
Yeah, the drugged son or whatever.
Yeah, that didn't happen in the original movie.
Yeah.
In the original movie, they were looking to buy some drugs. He invited them in, and then they were immediately kidnapped.
Yeah, true.
So it's slightly different that way.
Yeah.
Also, the people look a little younger. The murderers.
Well, they got a
They
younger
don't look-
cast.
They don't look.
I mean, the parents as well. Like
They don't look. No, the parents look about the. Well, everyone looks a little bit younger, just slightly younger than the versions that were in the 70s. I mean, there's small plot differences, but
yeah.
I mean, I don't think you're really spoiling anything because if you know about the original movie, you're gonna know about the remake, obviously. All right, so what's your thoughts on what you saw in that trailer?
I just don't think that the guy who's playing the leader or whatever, is going to top the original guy. Mm-hmm. Like telling his son to blow his brains out and stuff. Like,
well, I think that if I had to say, the murderers don't look quite as threatening to me, just from the initial impressions of the trailer.
Yeah.
The drugged out son, though, seems better to me. The girls, I don't know, I could take or leave the girls that get killed, raped and killed. But the parents, I like the parents more from my first impressions than the one from the original.
Well, it seems like in the remake they're going to do a lot more, like, torture. So
no, there was a lot of torture in the original one.
Well, in the original it was like, before they even started, it was like one of them had a nightmare about them getting revenge, and then when they actually did it, it was like...
Well, it looks like the deaths and the revenges are going to be different than the original movie.
Basically, yeah.
That's another one.
Yeah.
Also, I think the circumstances are slightly different. I don't think they found out. The girl didn't survive and come to the doorstep in the original one.
No, they found the body.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's also something different. I mean, slight changes, the concept is the same.
Mm-hmm.
I think it looks pretty decent. I think that Wes Craven having a hand in it brings back some of the, a more genuine feel to it. Yeah. I mean, of course, it looks like it's filmed better and that there's better actors in it, whatnot. I mean, it doesn't look quite like a first movie. It looks like a polished movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because I think the original, was like on a low budget. This one has
way low.
More
it was
of a
like his
budget
first
to
film. It was his first film.
Well, it was.
I'm open to it, but I can tell you I'm not going to go to the theater to see it. I'll rent it.
Yeah, I'm not going to spend money.
I'll rent it.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, on to Friday the 13th. Basically, it was a decent remake. I mean, not as good as the 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I agree. I don't think it was as good a remake. Not as shocking or as deep. Yeah. I think the Texas Chainsaw Massacre had a lot more, had more compelling characters, and a more interesting setting.
Yeah.
And a slightly more story-driven plot, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But actually, then again, not really, because there was a heavy presence of the mother Jason aspect.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no question why Jason was doing it, who his mother was, what was Crystal Lake. You know what I mean? That was all very clearly defined in the beginning and then brought back up again and again throughout the film. So that's also story-driven. if you had to, well, I don't want to do a whole complete comparison. Let's go back into the.
As I was saying, but it also wasn't like just another Jason movie. I mean, it felt like well, one, there was no supernatural element as the original had.
No.
So.
Well, unless you can count the end.
Well, yeah, but that was more like just for the last scare type of thing.
Well, as always, last scare. All right, so no supernatural element. He was a deformed child who survived when his mother thought he drowned.
His mother beheaded.
Well, his mother thought he drowned, though.
Yeah.
But he had survived. Sees his mother beheaded, starts hearing the voices of his mother saying, to kill them all.
Mm-hmm.
Lives out in the wilderness of Crystal Lake for 20 years or so.
Yeah.
28 years. And pretty much kills anyone that comes too close to his campground.
Basically, yeah.
And that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
It starts out with a fairly long intro, like you mentioned.
I didn't like that, to be honest.
A very long beginning where you see a first group of teenagers basically go in there.
They were all one-dimensional and generic, as was the second group.
Right, I mean, the teenagers were very cliched. There was
the sluts,
the jerk, the slut, the pothead, the couples,
yeah.
The comic relief, token black guy, token Asian guy.
Yeah.
Token white asshole, you know what I mean? Like the rich kid, and then the loner, and then the good girl. All the roles were covered.
They had more personality.
All the roles were covered, varying degrees of roundness in the character. But yeah, I mean, that was the way it was. It's never really been different in these Friday the 13th movies.
Yeah.
There's always those kids, and they always all end up dead. So...
Yeah. In that, it was kind of like a typical Jason
Yeah, I was hoping for a little bit more, actually. I mean, the characters were funny, but I don't think I really cared about them.
Yeah. In the beginning, I was kind of like marking time, just like, come on, I want Jason to show up.
I thought it was good because you knew it was coming.
Yeah.
So they try to inject a little bit of emotion, a little bit of caring for the characters by getting to know them for a few minutes.
Yeah.
But you knew they were going to die, so that's really all you were waiting for. And they did eventually die, and in some creative ways, too.
Yeah, as Gone with the Good, there were some interesting new different kills than any other Friday the 13th film.
Yeah, there was.
I mean, there was like an arrow through a head.
Yeah, he shot an arrow once. But let's start with the beginning, and the one that really started it off. It went first with the traditional machete, which cleaved one guy's face, like half his face and into his neck.
Well,
and shoulder.
Cut off his ear and
well, because he chopped it down into his neck, bled to death, whatever. Yeah. Then the even better one was he set a bear trap, which caught one guy, and then grabbed another girl, kept her in the sleeping bag,
and roasted her,
and hung her over a campfire to basically roast alive.
Yeah.
That's very, very cruel and crazy, especially since he left the boyfriend alive in the bear trap to watch his girlfriend be cooked.
Yeah.
So that really, right there, set it up as like kind of a new level of cruel. Not quite a mindless cruel.
Yeah, and then gets like chopped in the head, basically.
Right. Well, then eventually, girls chase back and whatever else.
Yeah.
And people are killed in bad ways.
Yeah.
Like that's it.
And Voorhees starts out with like the bag over his head, like part 2.
Mm-hmm.
And,
the more natural way to do it.
Yeah, and then it led into the hockey mask.
This
about him killing the redneck.
This time found in an attic of a barn after he killed somebody.
I'm gonna smoke some heroin. It's good for you, fucker.
Nah, that was some weed.
Yeah, whatever.
And
I know drugs are drugs to me.
He was a bumpkin, a country bumpkin,
and
he died in like fashion. Another machete.
Knife to the throat, but that's nothing new.
Because the machete is really his trademark weapon.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much established. Though he does get creative, like you said, with the arrow later on. What else did he use? Well, he's just throwing people into stuff, like and impaling them.
He did use a bow.
Yeah. Choking them, like a lot of... Because he's very...
Also, like the knife straight into the brain.
Yeah, he's super strong, pretty much.
Yeah, because when he was like, throwing down those like canoes and stuff.
Yeah, he was throwing like canoes like they were nothing. When a rafter broke when he was being hung, he threw away the timber like aside like it was nothing. He did have more